Hi, Nigel here with the Drive Wire, and this is the Audi Q4 e-tron, Audi's way of normalizing electric vehicles. And it could be the car that convinces you that they are no longer niche vehicles. So Audi is predicting that this mid-size electric crossover will be their second best selling vehicle. That's all well and good, but the problem is that being popular is not always the best. So today we're going to review this car. We're going to see whether it's worth your hard-earned money. So let's cut to the chase here. This is essentially a VW ID.4, and that's not a bad thing because I really like this car. We drove it last year, and the dual motor one was a fun little car. Now, this one is approximately 15 feet long. It's got 108.7 inches between the wheels, and it falls somewhere between an Audi Q3 and an Audi Q5. So how does it look? Well, very modern, very conventional. In fact, you'd have to do a double take to see that it wasn't, in fact, a gas-powered vehicle. There's no weirdness about it. It's just very normal. So here at the front, you get these Matrix LED headlights. They have 4 different light signatures that you can choose from for your daytime running lights. Very posh. Audi's usual front grille is obviously completely blanked out. No need for air going into an engine here, and then the 4 rings here. I like them in the silver here, on the black, a little e-tron here on this piano black, and then you've got the sensors here down below. So this is a prestige model, but base prices start around $49,900, but for the additional $6,300 on this one, you get animated headlights and tail lights, so they do a little dance when you close and open the vehicle. You also get this dual pane acoustic glass, a heated steering wheel, this panoramic moonroof, as well as a host of other extras. And this one also has the S-Line package for $2,200, which includes these 20-inch 10-spoke alloy wheels. I think they look pretty cool. They've got the Audi 4 rings in the middle. They ride on these 235/50 Bridgestone all-season tires. Brakes are 2 piston calipers at the front, 1 at the rear. You also get these sport front seats, a top and bottom steering wheel reminiscent of the Corvette, an S-Line exterior, and lots of black trim to go with this quite nice blue color that this particular tester has. All of that takes this particular car's as tested price, including destination, to $60,000. So under the hood, what you don't get is a frunk, but what you do get is a dual motor, which is basically identical to the ID.4, since this car shares its platform and mechanicals with that vehicle. 295 horsepower, 339 foot-pounds of torque, and a battery that has a capacity of around 77 kilowatts. That gives you around 241 miles of range max. 0 to 60 takes around 5.8 seconds, so it's pretty much on a par with the ID.4. Since this is a prestige model, you get an automatic tailgate to reveal a nice flat loading area. It's got around 25 cubic feet of space. If you put these seats down flat, you get around 54 cubic feet. And then under here, you've got a charger and a little bit more storage space to play with, as well as a couple of spaces on either side and a 12-volt power in the back. Seats are super easy to put down. Straight down like that. They're split as normal. It's not quite flat, but it's pretty decent. Pretty comfortable and with lots of room in the back. It's really, really nice. And you get 2 fast USBs, which is nice, 12 volt, and the ability to change the temperature as well. Now the headroom is a little bit limited as the shape of the vehicle comes down flat. You also get a nice little armrest with a couple of cup holders, but these seats aren't bad. They don't move forward and back, but they do allow you to recline just a little bit. You're not bolt upright in them, so not too bad for spending some time in. At the front, you get these sport seats, as I mentioned earlier, and they're very comfortable. A little better than Audi's standard seats, which I find a little bit too flat. These have got really nice side bolstering. From a design perspective, this sawn-off wheel is a little bit odd, but I like the instrument binnacle. The texture of the materials is good, soft feel. I like this angle here. Everything's directed towards the driver. And then this floating center console is also really cool. As far as tech's concerned, Audi's system is pretty good. I like the fact the screen is towards the driver, which is great. You can go into vehicle settings and charging and efficiency. You can set your charging levels here. We have 87% of battery. It shows the target where you want to charge it to. Normally you would charge it to 80%, but these are test cars, so we don't bother with that. Going back home, it's pretty quick, intuitive. You've got Apple CarPlay, all the different settings. You can change your ambient lights inside the car. Then down below here, you've got basically physical HVAC controls. These are pretty much the same ones that Audi use in every car. Now, this one comes with heated seats. It does not come with cooled seats, which is a little bit strange, but never mind. For that price, I would expect those. Then on this sort of really cool sort of floating section here, you've got your drive select, which gives you the choices of efficiency, comfort, auto, dynamic, individual. You can click on individual and you can change things to be comfortable. I've stayed in comfortable and a sporty drive. Tucked underneath this floating section here, you've got room for a mobile phone, which is charging with my case on, 2 fast USBs, 1 12 volt, and then this sort of rubberized pad right here to hold stuff. 2 decent sized cup holders, and then I like the way that the center armrest will move forward. You can also set it at different angles on that crank. Now going back to the touchscreen real quick, this one is in fact a 22 model, so it's 10.1 inches, but in the 23, the new one is 11.6 inches, so a little bit bigger than this one. So immediately ahead of the driver, you've got the configurable display, digital display, and you can make a lot of changes here. This is the Plus version, so you can go into Maps, you can go back to Apple CarPlay, etc. I got 160 miles of range on this car. You also get in the center whether you're using power or you're charging the battery. So if you're in B mode, you'll get a lot more charge, a lot more regen comes back. In D, which I would recommend for most things, it doesn't show up unless you hit the brakes, but it is actually regenning at the same time. And I just throw the date and time on the right-hand side. All in all, this is a very nicely put together car, but so it should be for $60,000. Okay, let's take it for a drive. I'm going to select individual mode that you saw earlier, so let's go ahead. So one thing that I do like about this car that other electric Audis have not had is it doesn't do full one pedal driving, but it's close. So if you have the regen set to its 3rd level, it will almost come to a halt, but then once you do stop, by applying the brakes, you stay stopped even with your feet off the pedal, which is nice. You'd have to have your foot on the brake all the time while you're at a traffic light. So off we go. And so dynamic mode feels pretty good. It feels pretty tight. I drove here in comfort mode. Yeah, it sort of wallows around a little bit, but now we're getting somewhere. This is feeling a little better. Let's face it though, it's not a sports car, it's a crossover, right? But it tracks really well. The steering feels pretty good too. Often electric vehicle steering is kind of funky, but this is not bad. And we can plow into a turn. It holds its weight pretty well. It doesn't roll too bad. One thing I have noticed though is the brakes. There's a lot of movement in the brakes. They almost feel spongy, which is never a good thing for brakes to be. But having said that, I feel like this thing can be hustled along. It's doing a pretty good job. Take our usual route, not a really long route, because we've got 151 miles of range. I don't want to run out of juice here, so every time you hit the brake pedal, you get some charge. And it's not neck-snapping acceleration, it's just pretty swift. Impressive so far. Holds pretty good. Now so far, these Bridgestons, which are not my favorite tire, are doing a pretty decent job. They haven't complained yet. So this is giving me the confidence that if Audi, and I'm sure they will, produce an SQ4 electric, and then hopefully an RSQ4 electric, that those cars could be pretty quick. Hopefully that have more range though. This does have about 241 miles of range, but it doesn't feel like it could achieve that for some reason. I've been driving it for half a day already, but it just doesn't seem to. It says I've got 83% of the battery left, but only 145 miles of range, which seems to be less than 83% of the battery if it does 241 miles of range. But that's more a guesstimator anyway, based on your driving style. Let's give it a go. So passing, pretty easy. Decent amount of power. Admittedly, I was passing a Prius, but impressive how well it picked up speed in the mid-range, which obviously is an electric vehicle. It has plenty of torque, 339 foot-pounds of torque. Power out of that bend, not too bad. You can kind of hear like a as you accelerate, but actually sounds kind of fun. All right, we are rolling along now. We got past that slightly slower vehicle, and it feels just like a normal gas-powered Q3 or a Q4, only it's quicker. It's very composed, and despite having a heavy battery, it must weigh more, but it's a lot more fun to drive than I expected. So what do we think? Well, the Audi Q4 e-tron doesn't dazzle you with futuristic styling or weird gizmos. It's just a solid SUV, mid-size SUV that will appeal to a lot of people because it is so normal. It's quick, it handles really well, exceeded my expectations, and I would certainly buy one if it was an RS or an S version with a bigger battery. Anyway, thanks again for watching. Please like, subscribe, and we'll catch you next time with another video.